You're dismissed.
Welcome to Task 5. The only constant in this season's Apprentice is change. Today you will not be split into teams. This will be an individual task. You'll be competing against each other, and one person will be going home and not through to the final. I'd like to thank Inseta for being our sponsor today. And I'm going to hand over to Nadia Starr, who's going to take you through today's task. Thanks, Nadia.
Thank you, Simon. Good morning, apprentices. Today, we are going to be visiting a technical and vocational education college. Ekurhuleni West College looks after technical training for young adults. As Inseta is a skills development organization, we are also very involved in career awareness. And as you would know, insurance is really regarded as a default career. Young kids do not aspire to become brokers or underwriters, and they don't understand how diverse and how interesting the insurance industry can be. Today, we would like for you to create a presentation on your own. You'll be competing against yourselves as well, and present to these youngsters an overview of the very dynamic and interesting careers that exist in the industry, as well as some indication of what the learning and education opportunities may be, specifically the technical learning stuff that one might learn at a TVET college and a university, and also to briefly touch on the role that Inseta plays as a supporter and funder of skills development in the industry. I wish you the best of luck.
So there'll be no presentations back here in the boardroom today. Your presentation will be to the students. You'll be judged on your style, the content, the response from the audience, and a few other factors. You only get one chance. There's no retakes or anything like that. Make it count. You're dismissed.
The apprentices were asked really to look at this concept of career awareness, to provide the TVET learners at Ekurhuleni West College with an overview of what the insurance industry occupations look like and feel like, how they would access these occupations, particularly through learning opportunities that may be supported by Inseta. Today I was very lucky to be joined by a past finalist in the Insurance Apprentice, Alicia Naransamy. She brought a lot of insight in respect of her experience last year and you know how maybe the apprentices were interpreting the tasks, and she was able to almost translate to the other judges, to myself and Simon, you know, what the insurance apprentices were going through. I think she gave us quite nice perspective from a judging point of view.
Thank you all again for being here this afternoon. I'm Simon Coleman. I'm the head judge on the Insurance Apprentice. We started this competition this year with 130 competitors. and we've been eliminating them slowly. Here in the finals, we're down to the last 5 people. So today they're going to be taking 10 minutes each to just give you a little bit more information about the insurance industry. If you like what they're doing, applaud. If you don't like what they're doing, you can say boo. Just don't throw anything, because they're not ready for that. And yeah, please enjoy yourselves, be yourselves despite the cameras in the room. Thank you. I hope to see all of you in the insurance industry.
So the twist today in the judging is that we found 4 members in the audience to be secret judges. These 4 members had to judge the apprentices on their presentation, on how relevant they were in attracting them to the industry. And their judging formed part of the overall scoring as to the insurance apprentice task today.
Not everybody is fortunate enough. As you know, last year with the fees must fall situation, people don't necessarily have fees to go to school. We understand that nobody has all the resources at hand, so even some people have come into insurance without any qualifications at all and learned the job on the ground. So I was the first one to go. In a way, I thought it was a good thing because at least I think most of us, the gist of the message will be the same. So, first time advantage, it went well. I managed time very well. So I'm going to let you put me to the test. You mention any field of study out there, and I say I will show you how it fits into insurance. Let's go. IT. You can come and program apps that can help people and show them when there's rain about to fall. Okay, electrical. So you could run your own business, partner with an insurance company, and run your own business as an artisan. Give me another one. Okay, you can't be quiet in insurance. Look like you have one. You have BCom. In BCom, you can actually come and be part of the finance team. Now, it's very interesting that once you're in finance, you can start going to risk management, you can start going to strategy. Like I'm saying, I come from a finance environment. Next week, I'll be in Kenya. The following week, I'll be in Ghana, purely because of a financial degree in insurance. You don't just talk about a career option and what it can do, but you actually provide means of how to get there, which makes it more realistic so that anybody who's listening can know that this is something that can be done and it's achievable. Now, what I'm trying to drive home to you is that when you look at your world, you should never narrow it. When it comes to the world, people will tell you that you can be anything you want to be. And I think if that were ever to be true, it's true of insurance. I would have appreciated if somebody had given me the kind of talk that we're getting to in this task. Through Inseta, you can be sure that if you need funds or to be put into placements with insurance companies to explore a career in insurance, Inseta can definitely assist you. Because certainly even when I studied, I thought I was just going to come out and crunch numbers. Today, I'm setting up companies, I'm building products, So just to show that there's breadth in the industry is something that's so important because anybody can really come in. That's something that should be brought to the public more, and especially to young students. Insurance is the business of giving people peace of mind.
Task 5 for me so far has been quite nice and interesting in that I feel that I was in my element. I enjoy standing and presenting to people and talking to a large crowd of people because I love attention. And it's kind of nice to just be being pulled out of a group environment and exposed and being put in a spot so that you're able to show what you're capable of. You generally end up in insurance by accident, as was my case. But it's been 6 years since I've been in the industry and I haven't looked back. And I'm hoping that if by sharing some of what I've learned, you're inspired to enter the industry. I sort of had a level of relief to be able to do what I want to do and do it in the time frame that I need to do it in. It's always nice sometimes to just step back and manage yourself and really showcase what you can do. A lot of the times in the groups, you're not necessarily given a chance to sort of prepare yourself and then get into the group. So there's a lot of pressure in there. I think for me, this was a lot less pressure because I was pretty confident in where I would find the information, how I would structure it, how I would present it, and how I'd sell it. And what was missing is having to then sell this to a group before going forward. So, what is insurance really about and why a career in insurance? It's a very dynamic environment. Because the economies and life changes every single day, it also changes to adjust and accommodate different types of risks. Because just like you have death and taxes, like your definites in life, I think risk is also a pretty good definite. You're bound to have some risk in your life, one way or another, whether you're an individual or whether you're a company. After this presentation, I feel fantastic. Like I said, I love being in front of a crowd. I love getting sort of like that rapport with the crowd. And yeah, I feel great. I think my presentation kicked ass.
So I come from a very small town. It's Northern Natal, we've got one robot. So literally one robot. I think my presentation went well. I focused less on the technical aspects of it and more on my story about where I came from and how I grew in the industry and what I did for that. So when you look at insurance companies, I bet you think, you're like, oh, it's like computers and paperwork and it's a bit boring. It isn't. It's not boring at all. It's one of the most interesting industries that you could be in. We touch lives from the smallest person with a cell phone, from a funeral policy, to the biggest corporate company that you can get. So this is a very, very broad industry to get into. I just want to tell you how to get into the industry. There's a lot of programs that are run and facilitated by insurance companies and insurance brokers. You've got to look out for those. Inseta gives a lot of bursaries and puts a lot of funding into these graduate programs and learnership programs. So go and knock on the doors, send your CVs to HR. There are programs out there that can get you into an industry. And I think it went down quite well because it was less focused on this is what you can do in the industry and more how to get in, you know, like knock on the doors, make it happen, you know, get on that bus, get to an interview, that kind of thing. If it wasn't for the insurance industry, things would be very different. I was a small town girl. I worked for Spar as a receiving manager. I earned nothing. I was going nowhere. I couldn't afford education. I couldn't afford a car. If it wasn't for this industry, I would be nowhere. So that's my message for you guys today. Don't be so focused on a long-term goal and a dream that you forget about what's right in front of you. And this industry is a great, great industry and there's a lot of potential. Thank you very much, guys, for listening.
I'm no different to you. I was a kid who didn't have much, but our industry allowed me the opportunity to grow my career, to study. Must have been 4 or 5 and we get a knock on the door. And it was a very friendly knock. So I opened the door and this guy's standing out there with a gun in his back. And he says he's from the sheriff of the High Court and he's attached and he's coming to take our furniture. And that's what they do. They carry all the furniture out of the house. Fast forward to the biggest event in my life. At age 19, I have a daughter. 19-year-old kid. I'm standing there with my daughter in my hand. And the one thing I promised myself is I'm not going to let her have the same life. Had I been on the receiving end of the speech I delivered, it would have given me an alternative. So that was my goal in going and doing that speech. I landed in an insurance company. Very young, the youngest employee in the company at the time. I was fortunate enough to get in and my career takes off. And I worked really hard. But I leveraged off the opportunity the industry offered me. You know, I drive a car, which it's not the best car in the world, but if you told me as a 10-year-old kid without hope that's what I'd have, I'd be doing the happy dance. Today I stand in front of you. I've completed a national diploma in management. I've done a degree in business administration. I'm currently doing a master's in business administration as well. I'm an associate with the insurance industry, the second higher designation. Insurance is a scarce skill. Do you guys know what that is? It means there are companies waiting for guys like you who are willing to equip themselves to get in the industry to afford you the same opportunity. So let's consider Inseta as an example. They offer bursaries, they offer learnerships, which they fund, which young people can take advantage of to advance your careers. The role of Inseta really is to create opportunities for study and skills development. I think it's so important. We live in a very diverse economy where the haves and have-nots are so dispersed and separated. So I think by affording sort of underprivileged kids and young people the opportunity to study, which is already funded as a phenomenal thing. I think the challenge now is how do we get that message out? How do we make people who are out there in the city, young kids, aware that these opportunities exist so they can leverage off that? And I think it's the responsibility of every insurance professional to do just that, to pay it forward. Education is the one tool, the greatest weapon you can use to destroy poverty, to build up society. And I agree with 100%, but with education, you need opportunity. You agree? You'll be the most qualified person in the world if you don't have opportunity. And that's what I believe the short-term insurance is missing. I want to leave that with you. I feel that I got the message across that I wanted to. Perhaps not in as effectively as I wanted to, but I think sufficiently effectively. I don't know how the interview compared to the other guys. I did the best I could and I'm content with it.
Quick and short, what is insurance? I'm going to pick on you, Brent. What's insurance? Security. Good. A short, simple answer is risk transfer. Short and simple. The preparation for an individual task, and especially a task of this nature, is much easier because you go in there and you speak from the heart. But we want to add in a bit of spice because insurance is about spice and flavor. The industry is so good and dynamic that once you're in, you can learn on the job. People are there to transfer their skills to young people coming in. I'm one of those that got into the industry by mistake. I studied economics and then furthered my studies in finance. And I thought I wanted to be an economist or finance, something in finance. And I got into the insurance industry and haven't left. I've been ever since. I've loved it. I am a living testament to the goodness of Inseta. Now, Inseta allowed or gave funding to the company that hired me, that opened that vacancy for me. We need skilled, passionate, and young educated people to join the industry and take it to the next level. Once you are in an insurer, you can work in just about anything. It's just so broad, you can find what speaks to you. Castor Novest. We're all there filling up the dome, filling up the stadium. That is because we were able to provide Casper with an events product. And once you found your niche where you belong, to say, yes, I love finance, that's when Inseta can give you bursaries and you further your finance and you know exactly what you need to do in there. So make sure, guys, that you always upskill yourself. Knowledge is power. The task is close to my heart, so I really enjoyed the task and I gave it my best.
Right, thank you everyone. I liked what they all had to say. Some were better than others. If I can just get a bit of feedback from you, who thought that number one was your favorite? Number one was Mutoda. Number two was Nick. Anyone? Number three was Lisa. Number four was Kurt. Okay, everyone who preferred Cabello, please raise your hands. Last speaker. Okay, that's pretty overwhelming, huh? So that means everyone loved Cabello because, okay, so I'd say like 90% of you preferred the last speaker. She went into a bit more detail about the way the industry was.
Details about insurance, data, how to get in, how to grow, how to.
And that's why you're here.
The standard players for me in today's task was definitely Cabello and Kurt. Cabello engaged with the audience. She was insightful to them, she understood them, she took the time to understand the audience, and that's the most important thing when you're doing a presentation.
Her presentation, I think, for me really stood out because it firstly met the mandate. She was able to expand on the occupations in the industry, how the learning pathways support that and how Inseta obviously supports these learning opportunities. But she was also able to really engage with the crowd of TVET learners, and she presented in such a sincere and honest way that I think she really made a big impact on the learners.
Kurt, for me, was very influential in the fact that he shared his personal story. There was sort of a call to action to him, to the audience, because he wanted to make them feel a part of his journey, but also why they should get into the insurance industry.
Got Matodo. He is a highly intelligent young man. I was very pleased to hear his take on career awareness in terms of his perception as an actuary. These actuaries always have a different perspective on real life, but I was pleased to see that he could engage with the students in a real manner, as opposed to talking at a level that would go over their heads. I think really across the board, the information and the message that all of them were providing was good, but I think they lost a few points, all of them, in terms of their lack of just getting that interest and that engagement with the group in front of them.
I'd like to thank you for being our secret judges today. I think it was very valuable. I'd like to introduce you to Nadia. She's from the Inseta, very important person to know. And Alicia is one of the finalists from the Apprentice last year. So she's like our expert judge. Alicia, you had the first question.
Yes. So girls, I would like to actually know, which apprentice captivated you so much that you would actually like to work for the insurance industry?
I would say it's Gabelo, because he elaborated the insurance industry very well. And then he told us about the industry, short terms and the long terms of the industry. So I would say it's her.
Okay, I will go with the second last person. I didn't get his name. Kurt. Simply because he showed me that you can grow in the industry. It's not that you will be stuck in one point, but then you can grow in many dimensions in the industry. That's why I choose him.
So you like the fact that he told you about his humble beginnings and how he's managed to grow himself through the industry.
Yes.
Okay, I will go with Gabelo. And she didn't tell much about her outgrowing, how she grew, how she struggled and all that. Okay, fine, it was okay to tell us about that, but we wanted to learn much about this. That's why we are here. We just finished our course, which is Finance and 6. So we want to know where to go and what are the challenges and how are we going to grow into that industry. So she touched much about that and the growings, the importance of it and all that. So that's why I chose her. She was more into the industry than her personal life.
I will also choose Gabelo because he told us about you don't have to study a specific course if you want to be an insurer.
Your feedback has been wonderful. You're going to help us make some difficult decisions later today. And I wish you all the best in your careers. Thank you. It's been an absolute ride. It's been a difficult competition. I think that it's been full of surprises, not just for the contestants, but as judges, we've not really known which way things were going to go from one day to the next. Often in these things you have a clear idea relatively early on who's leading, who's lagging behind, and that was kind of changing almost every day, which makes it more exciting and interesting for us. Welcome back, team. After taking part in Task 5, I just want to introduce Alicia Narayansamy. You'll know her as a finalist from the last season of The Apprentice. And on my right, we've got Nadia, who you met earlier from the Inseta. I'm going to hand over for some feedback now.
Thank you, Simon. Apprentices, today's task was really about creating awareness and excitement about the industry. I am bitterly disappointed. I don't think that the task was executed as we would have hoped from a group of this caliber. Well, I certainly found that in many cases we were speaking too much from a personal perspective and not providing the information that these youngsters really needed in terms of what opportunities are in the industry and how to access our industry. And I don't feel that we created the sort of excitement about accessing our industry as one would have hoped. For me, it was really quite, like I say, an overall disappointing execution, and there was really just one bright star, but I'll reserve my comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. Alicia?
Thank you, Simon. For me, the apprentices lacked innovation. You were too rehearsed and scripted, but I don't think the apprentices were cognizant of their audience in this task. So for me, not an overall impressive performance.
So this really matters today, this task. You had an opportunity to connect with your audience. We had some assistance from the audience. We were able to speak to a group of the audience members and 4 secret judges, if you like, and we took an overall vote from the group that you addressed today as to who their highest and lowest ranking presenters were. I'm pleased to announce that the top scorer of the day was Kabelo. So well done. Although I would like to stress, as you've heard, overall it was a disappointing performance. So you're at the top of a relatively low heap. Somebody has to leave today. And the 2 lowest scores for today's task are Nick and Lisa. Nick, many of the audience members said they couldn't hear you. You didn't elevate your voice enough. If you had a great message, a lot of them couldn't get it. At certain points, it looked like you were reading your speech, which is obviously not a good way to connect with an audience. And in fact, you know, those of you that had pieces of paper, it's disrespectful to the audience to have something that looks like you wrote it on the back of something else in a hurry, unprepared. And that brings me to you, Lisa. Your presentation today was very poorly prepared, and it showed. You didn't spend enough time going into detail about the industry. You had a tiny window of opportunity to impress some young people about coming into our industry, and it was missed. So the person who isn't going through today is Lisa. Lisa, you're dismissed.
I found the competition an amazing experience in regards to personal growth. It's been a fabulous journey. I've learned a lot about myself and about how I should be dealing with people. And for me, it's been a phenomenal experience in my personal capacity, as well as meeting some incredible people along the way. If I had to put money down now on the final 4, I would love to put it on Mutoda, because I like him, but honestly, I think it'll be Kurt.
Ordinarily, you'd be heaving a sigh of relief right now. This would be the end of the road. You'd be able to go home and relax and get ready for the decision-making time. That's not going to happen. There's one more task. And I'll tell you all about it at your next briefing. You're dismissed.
I think the final 4 apprentices that we have ended up with, they're very strong, they're very poised individuals, and for me, the Insurance Apprentice winner of 2017 needs to be an ambassador of the industry.
It's anyone's game. Any of the 4 could win it, and yeah, good luck to all of them.